Hi there. In this video, we will go over AWS Elastic Container Service. In order to understand AWS Elastic Container Service, we need to understand what are containers. And to understand what are containers, we need to go through the difference between containers and virtualization. Now, as we have explained in this illustration in previous videos, AWS infrastructure is made up of a physical host, and a physical host is comprised of the hardware layer, which is the CPU, the RAM, and the storage. Then on top of the hardware, we have an operating system which helps use this hardware. And via this operating system, we can create applications which are run by the operating system by using the hardware of the physical host. Now what AWS does is it uses a hypervisor, and with virtualization software, it basically partitions the capabilities of the hardware or the physical host and then creates virtual CPU, virtual RAM, and virtual storage. And by doing partitioning of the physical hardware, it is able to create many instances which can be used, also known as the virtual machines. Now, one problem with the virtualization is that by creating a virtual machine, virtual machines emulate virtual hardware, which means they are large in terms of system requirements. As can be seen in this diagram, the virtual machine basically uses the AWS infrastructure hardware. It has a host operating system, and then using the hypervisor, the virtual machines are created. The addition of the guest operating system to run the CPU, RAM, and storage created by the virtual machine makes this application, this virtual machine, large in terms of system requirements. Containers, on the other hand, are isolated pieces of software with all the necessary libraries and dependencies packaged neatly inside a container. The container just relies upon the Docker engine. It does not need its own guest operating system. So the container relies on the Docker engine, which basically emulates the operating system. So the Docker engine actually uses the operating system of the host. The host could be virtual or physical. To understand this concept better, we go to the next diagram. So how do containers run on EC2 instances? As shown previously, we have the AWS infrastructure which has all the hardware, and then on top of the hardware we have the physical host operating system, and on the host operating system we have the hypervisor, which basically generates multiple EC2 instances. Now on this EC2 instances, there's of course the guest operating system to basically make use of the virtual CPU, RAM, and storage. But now what is done is we install a Docker engine on top of this operating system. And by installing the Docker engine, we can now create many containerized applications on top of a single EC2 instance. This helps to ensure that containers maximize instance utilization. AWS documentation states that Docker containers improve efficiency by providing a lightweight, efficient isolation model. Unlike a heavier virtual machine, you can run many small Docker containers on a single EC2 instance. It isn't uncommon to fill an EC2 instance with up to 10 to 20 Docker containers. So this is the beauty of using containers on top of the hypervisor and the host operating system and the AWS hardware. The single physical host can generate multiple EC2 instances to run standalone EC2 instances if required, or you can add the Docker engine on top of the EC2 instance, and then you can have multiple containers to further increase the utilization. So as mentioned, you get more efficient usage for the cloud resources you are paying for, rather than paying for a large EC2 instance and only getting 10 to 20% utilization out of the instance. You can aim to pack many application containers onto the instance and get up to 70 to 80% utilization of that EC2 instance. The other use case of containers are used for microservices. So you can basically have a microservice based architecture and use many microservices built on top of a single EC2 instance. You could also use containers for hybrid and multi-cloud strategies, and containers are also used to deploy machine learning models. So now that we understand what are containers, we need to understand what is container orchestration. Container orchestration is made up of a couple of steps. First is provisioning and deployment of containers, then scaling containers up or down to evenly spread the workload across the host, health monitoring of the host resources. Checks are done to assess if the host is nearing full utilization or if a host terminates in order to move the containers from one host to another. Allocation of resources between containers and workload allocation or balancing between containers. Basically, all these various steps of container orchestration is a lot of work, and you need a tool that can handle this orchestration at scale. This is where Elastic Container Service comes in. Now, as per AWS Management Console, if you log into the AWS Management Console, you'll see that the very first step of getting started with Elastic Container Service is you need to first create a container and task, and you will see this diagram on your AWS Management Console. Now, this illustration is important because we just need to understand these definitions that have been mentioned over here. So, if you notice this diagram, we have first this box, which is the cluster. Then within this box, there's another layer, which is called the service. Then within the service layer, there's another box or layer, which is called the task definition. And then within the task definition is the container definition. Now, a brief of what these terminologies are. First, we start with the cluster, which is the most outermost layer. It is the logical grouping of tasks, services, and compute resources. Service runs and maintains a specified number of tasks. Task definition is a blueprint that describes how a container should launch. A container definition are used in task definitions to describe the different containers that are launched as part of the task. And a task is basically a running instance of the task definition. Now, these concepts by itself are not easy to understand. However, in the next diagram, we will explain all these things in detail and how exactly Amazon Elastic Container Service works. Now, through this illustration, we will try to visually explain how you launch Elastic Container Service with EC2 instances. The starting point is the Docker file. The Docker file is a text document that contains all the commands a user could call on the command line to assemble an image. So the Docker file is basically a text document, which is also called the container image. This container images is then loaded onto the Amazon Elastic Container Registry. This registry is where images can be downloaded and run on your cluster. So first, the Docker file creates the container image. The container image is stored onto the ECR, and from the ECR, you can download the images and run them on your cluster. This downloading of images and running on the cluster is then handled by Amazon Elastic Container Service. Now, in the previous illustration, there were a couple of terminologies that we used: cluster, service, task definition, container definition. Now, let's understand them a bit better. Now, let's suppose you have a microservice-based application, and this application is comprised of three different services. There is front-end service, back-end service, and a data store service. Now, within this service, the service is comprised of a task definition and a service definition. A task definition specifies various parameters for your application. The task definition is a text file in JSON format that describes one or more containers up to a maximum of 10 that form your application. The service definition defines the minimum and maximum tasks from one task definition that can run at any given time. Now, as you can see over here, we have three services: a front-end service, a back-end service, and a data store service. Now once the service is defined with the task definition and service definition, Elastic Container Service basically creates this large box which is called the ECS cluster. Within the ECS cluster, container instances are created. So in this example, we have one ECS cluster within which we have two container instances. Within the container instances, thanks to the task definition service definition defined for each service, multiple containers are created via these tasks, which are instances of this task definition. Remember, a task is basically an instance of a task definition. And based on the task definition, the number of containers that are to be placed inside each task are defined over here. So as mentioned, the task definition is a text file that describes one or more containers up to a maximum of 10 that form your application. So we can see over here that this front-end service basically has a total of 8 containers, and so does the backend service, and so does the data store service. Now, each ECS container instance also has a ECS container agent. So ECS container instance 1 has ECS container agent 1, and ECS container instance 2 has ECS container agent 2. The ECS container agent allows Amazon ECS to communicate with EC2 instances in the cluster to start, stop, and monitor containers as requested by a user or scheduler. So it is the responsibility of the ECS container agent to communicate to Amazon EC2 to generate as many compute resources required to run the ECS cluster. Once again, the ECS cluster is a group of ECS container instances. So this helps to clarify this definitions or terminologies that were shown in this illustration over here. We had first of all the outer layer, which is the cluster, which we have shown over here. Is this the cluster? And then we have the service. The service is defined here: front-end service, back-end service, data store service. Then we had the task definition and the container definition. So the task definition is defined over here. Now the difference between launching Elastic Container Service with EC2 instances versus Elastic Container Service with Fargate. Everything else is similar. However, AWS Fargate is a technology that you use with Amazon ECS to run containers without having to manage servers or clusters of Amazon EC2 instances. So unlike the previous diagram where we had the ECS agent that would communicate to EC2 instances how many instances are required to provide compute resources to run the cluster, now this is all handled by Amazon Fargate. So this illustration will help to give us a high-level overview of how management of containers work. First, we have the container image registry where we store all the container images, and in AWS this is managed by Amazon Elastic Container Registry. The container images are then downloaded on either Elastic Kubernetes Service or Elastic Container Service, both of which are tools for management of containers and container orchestration. Now we will go over Elastic Kubernetes Service in our next video. The Elastic Container Service then can be either hosted either using Elastic Compute Cloud or EC2 or AWS Fargate. The difference between the two is EC2 means managing hosting your containers yourself, whereas with Fargate, let Fargate serverless infrastructure manage hosting of the containers. Additional differences between EC2 and Fargate are: EC2 is managed by client. It is considered relatively cheaper because you can control the cost, because you control how many EC2 instances are run for your Elastic Container Service. It is useful for highly predictable and long-running tasks and is meant for stable workloads. AWS Fargate, on the other hand, instead of being managed by the client, it is managed by AWS. Because it is managed by AWS, it is slightly more expensive to run compared to hosting EC2 instances for your Elastic Container Service. The beauty or benefit of AWS Fargate comes when you're using it for unpredictable workloads and is meant ideally for new applications with very low or early stage usage. Now that we understand what Elastic Container Service does, we will go over some of the features that could possibly come as some sort of question in the exam. So Elastic Container Service is basically a service that helps run your containers on a cluster of Amazon EC2 virtual machines, which are instances that are pre-installed with Docker. Elastic Container Service features include development with containers. So there is support for Docker because ECS supports Docker, enables you to run and manage Docker containers. There is the repository support, which is ECR. So all you need to do is specify the repository in your task definition, and ECS retrieves the appropriate images for your applications. Another feature of Elastic Container Service is management of containers, and we went through this terminology, task definitions. ECS allows you to define tasks through a declarative JSON template called a task definition, and you can launch as many tasks as you want from a single task definition file. So as we explained in that previous illustration, tasks are instances from a task definition file, and you can launch as many tasks because they are instances of the task definition file. Also, you get programmatic control. ECS provides API actions that allow you to create and delete clusters, register and deregister tasks, and launch and terminate Docker containers. And of course, you can manage container deployments because ECS allows you to easily update your containers to new versions. The ECS Container Service also allows scheduling and task placement. It allows you to do task scheduling, which is allowing you to run processes that perform work and then stop as per your requirement. You can do service scheduling, so which ensures that a specified number of tasks are constantly running and restarts tasks if a failure occurs. Then there's also daemon scheduling. Daemons are basically backend processes that run. So ECS daemon schedules automatically. They run the same task on each selected instance in your ECS cluster. ECS also handles networking, so there's service discovery because ECS is integrated with AWS Cloud Map to make it easy for your containerized services to discover and connect with each other. And this is important for containers to work. There's also task networking. ECS supports Docker networking and integrates with Amazon VPC to provide isolation for those containers. And there's also load balancing. So ECS is integrated with Elastic Load Balancing that allows you to distribute traffic across your containers using load balancers, application load balancers, or network load balancers. Additionally, you have monitoring and login service. So ECS provides monitoring capabilities for containers and clusters via Amazon CloudWatch, and also it allows to do logging and tracing all the records of your ECS API calls via CloudTrail. Finally, you also can avail hybrid developments. You can use ECS and AWS Outposts to run containerized applications that require particularly low latencies for on-premises systems. So as explained in one of the first use case is that you can use ECS for hybrid developments, which is a mix of on-prem and off-prem services. So this brings us to the end of this explanation concept of Elastic Container Service. In our next video, we will go over the second container orchestration tool, which is known as Elastic Kubernetes Service. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe and keep watching our videos. Thank you.